Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live again. We are here to do the FA Cup third round preview of Manchester United's upcoming match against Reading. Today, I'm joined by the one, the only, the homie, Matthew McFadden. Matthew, how you doing, bro?
No, I'm still loaded with the cold, but I'm up for this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you at least sound halfway decent. I'm only giving you halfway.
I mean, I'll take halfway at this stage.
I mean, but listen, it might just be the silky Scottish tones. They're getting blocked up by that, by the Mathis de Ligt of the world.
That would be proud.
So as Evie just put in there, so the provisional squad has come out for Manchester United, and apparently there's no Greenwood, there's no Gomez, there's basically really no youth in it, which. Maybe. I mean, this could be something to think about, guys. There is the potential that maybe the board said, hey, Ollie, you go out there and you win the FA Cup, and maybe we'll give you the job. So just remember that there is the possibility this could be something that he's trying to win a job. He's trying to do something. They said, hey, win us something. And if that's the case, that's just something to be reminded of. I mean, Matthew, do you think that all things considering, if we were to win the FA Cup, do you think Ollie would deserve to get the job?
I think the FA Cup would be one part of what he'd become full-time manager as. I don't think it'd be everything. We'd need to probably prioritise Champions League and Premier League over that. But I'll tell you what, if we see in May him lifting a trophy, it's just going to be one of the happiest things ever. Because you can't not love Ollie, and he'll be smiling his wee face off when he lift it up.
Yeah.
And it would just be the most wholesome content ever.
So, by the way, Doug just said that your poster you sent him is on the way. He got his shipping update coming in, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be shipping it tomorrow.
But
sometimes, so it should arrive in the next 2 days.
You know, honestly, I mean, well, real quick, let's just say this. I mean, Matthew, just because, I mean, we all know that the provisional squad doesn't mean anything. If I remember correctly, Anthony Martial wasn't in the provisional squad for the Newcastle match, and he wound up being there and starting the match. So,
well, yeah, it was the Bournemouth match as well.
Yeah,
in the provisional squad for.
Yeah,
and he turned out to be in that, and we hammered them. So. I wouldn't put too much weight into it. I think it's a very slight indication.
That's fair.
Then again, how do they know exactly who's travelled? Do they just look at the team who walk into the hotel or whatever, or something like that? And they just say, "Oh yeah, I've seen these players." Or
I'm relatively certain that they base it on who is walking into the hotel.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just 5'3". You can miss the ball easily.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. So I mean, Matthew, just I might as well ask the question to you: Who are some of the youth products that you would have liked to have seen tomorrow in the match, whether starting or not?
There's 2 players mainly, and it's because we've not seen them yet in competitive games this season. That's Greenwood and Shaw. Like those 2, obviously, we'll go into it further down the line, but Sanchez and Lukaku are going to be starting the match. If they can maybe come off the bench at 60 minutes or so and see how they do, that would probably be a good opportunity for them.
Yes. Well, because let's be realistic about this. I think that ultimately you put out a lineup that's got Lukaku and Sanchez in it, and against a team like Reading, you should be putting a beating to them and winning that match very, very easily. So if you start that match and, like you said, 60 minutes in, we should be 3-0 up at the very least, having 2 guys of that quality in that lineup. You know, there was pictures that surfaced of different players that were in that line that were in training last week, like Roshan Williams, Angel Gomez, James Gardner. I mean, I honestly think that all of them could potentially be involved in this upcoming match, at least, you know, in and around the squad. I would be interested to see who is going to be the starting center back partnership, considering the fact that Ollie did come out and say that both Smalling and Rojo will not be available tomorrow. So, I mean, it's got to be either, Lindelof or Jones will have to be in the lineup. Unless we can manage to get Timbo back. And we all heard the rumors that his loan has been terminated by Fulham. So we'll see about that. But, I'd be interested to see how many youth products we will actually get tomorrow and how much this provisional squad will be proven to be true. So, real quick, guys, I did want to shout out the one and only Dan Jones. You guys might know him from the live comments. He is from the Reading area. He was going to be joining us today, but he was not feeling very well. So he sent me a very long message here on the Twitters. And he did give me some information about Reading because, Matthew, I know me personally, I know nothing about them. How much do you know about Reading?
I don't know a great deal apart from the fact that they're a terrible team.
Like
the championship, but quite near the bottom of the table.
I was saying, if I remember correctly, they're bottom of the table, like close to the bottom.
Okay, I thought maybe they were just above relegation, but that's even better than expected. They've just got a new manager in, who I think came from Dubai, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere around there. The first match under him, they lost 4-1. So we should realistically go out there with almost any team and hammer them.
You're absolutely right.
No, I don't want to see any real sort of respect given to them. Just get out there, do a professional job, and hammer them.
Yeah. So, guys, real quick, I'm going to read this out for you here. What I know about Reading is that they are really struggling this season. They are 23rd in the championship, so they are in a massive relegation battle. They've recently appointed a new manager called Jose Gomez. They lost their last game against Swansea 4-1 at home. They have players like John O'Shea, Tyler Blackett that have played for United. I also know he did tell me later that Tyler Blackett will not be available for this match. I guess that he is suspended. But he said there's guys from United that are in that lineup. We should watch out for John Dottie Bodvarsson. John Dottie Bodvarsson. He's a striker who is quite tall. I'm sorry, what was that, Matthew?
I think he played for Aston Villa last season. I know that name.
If you want to Google him really quick, you could. I'll keep reading this. So he said he's a striker who is quite tall and is Reading's joint top scorer this season, along with Jaco Mate, who's also an attacker, but he hasn't scored in a while. If I remember correctly, Mo Barrow is another. He's very quick, but he hasn't been the same this season as he was in previous seasons. They're known for having some promising youth too. Players like Danny Loader and Andy. I can't even begin to try and pronounce that name. Who's actually a Menk himself and Boyhood United fan. That's all I know. It's a lot more than many or any would know much about Reading since the last time they were in the Prem. It was a long time ago. Should be no trouble beating them. So, Matthew, did you happen to find any more information about that guy?
Wrong guy I was thinking of, so that few things that I've just said is a complete waste of time.
No big deal. No big deal.
Looking at this, they've got a lot of players who are recognised, but none of any real quality. They've got O'Shea as one of the centre-backs. I thought he was retired.
If I was to say, like, John O'Shea is really the only name that I recognize. I know the name Tyler Blackett, but he never really did anything at Manchester United.
Van Gaal played for about 5 games, and people were saying, "Oh, he's so composed to the ball and stuff." Actually, forgetting the fact the defenders are meant to defend, and he couldn't defend. So it's not exactly a good one. But yeah, most of this squad is either players who weren't good enough for Premier League teams as youth players, or just washed up talent from the mid-2000s.
Yeah. So Doug just said Tyler Blackett went on loan to Celtic. So I didn't. I just so you guys know, I don't know much about. Like I said, I don't know anything about Reading. So that's I'm getting my information secondhand, but we do appreciate Dan Jones chipping in with that. And just wanted to real quick shout out and say hi to everybody that's watching live right now. Happy you guys could all join us. But we're gonna talk about this match a little bit. Obviously, it's the very early days of the FA Cup. These are the matches that a team like Manchester United should be winning against a team like Reading very, very easily, and we should be able to be playing, fringe youth players, youth players, people that normally wouldn't be in the starting lineup or sometimes even the match day squad. So, I mean, let's be real about that. Like, the quality that Manchester United have, even if we were to put out a U23 team against them, should beat a team like Reading. But that's just all honesty. So, I mean, Matthew, just talk about your expectations for this match against Reading, and what do you think ultimately should be the goal for a third round of the FA Cup?
Like I said at the start of the show, it should just be a professional job. Just go out there and don't give it them any respect. Just hammer them, score 3, 4, 5 past them. And I think, really, as long as we put out a decent enough team, we should be able to comfortably do that.
Yeah.
We're probably going to lineups later on, but I hope he starts, maybe not starts, but includes a few youth players. Maybe like Greenwood, Chong, Gomez, those kind of guys, Garner as well. In the midfield.
Yeah.
And the centre-back thing is a real debate, because I think, like you said, is it Smalling and Rojo out?
Yes.
Obviously, Lindelof are going to be the starting centre-backs for the Tottenham game, so it may be a bit of a risk playing them, risk an injury. So it should be interesting to see who's there. And is that Fosu Mensah thing confirmed there? Because yesterday we talked about it, and it turned out not actually to be true, but I've heard it resurface again today.
So I'm going to do a quick Twitter search for Manchester United and just see if anything popped up on there.
Just himself would have likely tweeted it.
So, Matthew, do you think that the goal for a third round of the FA Cup for a team like Manchester United should be to, play youth and fringe players and, ultimately still be able to pull out a good win?
Yeah, I think we should put focus on the players who wouldn't normally get game time. As Ole says, he wants to give everyone a chance in the team. In this game, where you can really comfortably win it, I know people are going to go on about giant killings, but with this game, I just don't see it whatsoever. So I think this is a good time to maybe play those players who maybe had a bit of an unfair treatment from Jose, or just those players who are looking to maybe get into the first team, but age maybe isn't on the side at the moment. Guys like Pereira, Fred, the youth players that I mentioned as well. Even as much as I dislike him as a footballer, Darmian, I think he could maybe have a role in that team, see how he does under Ole. So it should be interesting to see actually how we approach this game.
Yeah, I agree. And so Danny Dobson, good to see you joining us live. So Doug did say Fulham ended the loan for Timbo to go ahead and sign Gary Cahill, which that does seem realistic. I didn't see anything official from United's Twitter. So I know that we would likely see something official if he was being brought back. So there's nothing official yet. And Ryan Beals did say disappointed to not see Gomez or Greenwood in the squad. You guys just remember that, provisional squads don't really mean much. We ultimately are playing this match at home. So you could have late arrivals. You could have people that are staying in different places. Just remember that the provisional squad does not necessarily mean that is the guaranteed for who's going to be there. But we will ultimately see tomorrow. Rory, good to see you here. He thinks it's going to be a pretty easy win tomorrow, which I agree with. I do think that it will be a pretty easy win tomorrow. So, Matthew, let's go ahead and let's jump into this lineup that we think we're going to see, because and we will definitely, for this one particularly, we will do how Ollie's going to do it and then how we would do it, especially since we've seen a provisional squad come out. I think it's going to be smart to kind of base it off of the provisional squad for what Ollie's going to do. But then I would love to do ours to see how we would do this. Not saying that Ollie is wrong in anything that he would be doing. So Matthew, what is your projected lineup for tomorrow that Ollie Gunny Solskjaer is going to run out there?
Right, starting off in goal. There's loads of talk about what is Ollie going to do to keep himself the job. But I tell you what, if the boy starts Lee Grant, then that's good enough for me. You know what? Like all memes aside, I actually think he's better than Sergio Romero. Romero is one of the riskiest, luckiest keepers I've seen. So to be honest, Ollie might look at starting Lee Grant, but the chances are it'll be Romero in net. Right back's a bit of a weird one. Valencia obviously just didn't play well. Although Garth Crooks put him in his team of the week, the absolute idiot.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh yeah, he put him in his team of the week. He said, I think his opening sentence as well was something like, "How good is it to see Antonio Valencia back playing again?"
Oh my!
No, it's not. It's just
all you have to do is look at his pass map to see what he did yesterday.
All you have to do is just look at the team sheet and see Valencia on it and realise, oh no, he's not going to my team of the week. He's not had a good performance since Stoke when he scored that banger with his left foot.
I mean,
so right back. To be fair, I think he'd probably start Delon that game.
Yes,
I think that Huddersfield game, which I think was the last one that he played, he found it a little bit difficult. To be fair, a lot of that was due to the lack of service to him. But this game is one that he can really sort of show Ollie what he's all about and get the boys some confidence. And like I said, centre-back's the huge, huge dilemma.
Yes, I agree.
Ideally, you want to see a couple of youth players maybe. See, when it comes to Fosu Mensah, I mean, if Fulham are terminating his loan so that they can sign Gary Cahill on loan, then I think it says a lot about what Fosu offers to that team. I just don't see a future for him, to be honest. He's got all like the physical attributes, but he doesn't seem good when it comes to sort of mentally. Like you'll see a match of the day occasionally, the guy he usually puts in a decent performance, but will do something stupid like give away a penalty or whatever, or make a really rash decision.
Yeah.
However, you could start him in this game at centre back, see how he does. Again, kind of like Donald, give him some confidence. And then as for the other centre back, I'd maybe say again Lindelof or Jones. It could be any of them. So I'll just say Lindelof. Left back. Again, it could be quite a few people. I'd preferably like to see Ashley Young there, because I think Luke Shaw's probably going to be the left back against Tottenham. And again, I'm sort of looking at this based on what Ole would do at injury risk. You know, obviously Luke Shaw gets injured and he can get injured anytime. And the last thing you want him to do is play him in a FA Cup game against a terrible side.
Yeah.
You don't really play him and he gets an injury and misses the biggest game of the season.
Well, so something that I kind of thought about, and I did see a couple of people mentioning it here, was Darmian. You know, there's a potential that he could play in a match like this. And I actually think that he could be suited as a center back in this match.
I'd probably play Darmian at left back, even though personally I wouldn't. I'd rather play my dad there, to be honest. And he's 55 and he was a striker, so he'd be useless there.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Sometimes you just got to make those risks. But going into midfield, again, midfield's another weird one. Who would only start in the defensive midfield position? You could maybe go for Pereira or Fred, but they're not really natural defensive midfielders. However, given how quickly Matic has moved the ball, maybe Ole does kind of want to see that little playmaker in that position. Someone who's just going to take the ball and pass it quickly or make through balls to the attackers. So you could maybe see Pereira in there. As for the other midfielder, I'd go with Fred. Fred, definitely. This is just the perfect game, again, to give him some confidence and allow him to maybe kickstart some kind of form. And then maybe Herrera is the other midfielder. I'm not sure who the replacement for Pogba would be at this stage. I'd probably say Pereira, but then again, I think you might start in a deeper position. Maybe even Mata as the sort of forwards midfielder in a way. And then it's on 3, obviously, 2 of which speak for itself. Lukaku and Sanchez are going to start, and I think Lukaku will obviously be up front, Sanchez in the left wing, and don't be surprised if you see Chong.
So what I was kind of thinking, this was where my thinking was, but with the provisionals coming out and not seeing, Greenwood, not seeing Gomez, not seeing those guys, I actually want to try and find. I mean, Matthew, if you could look on Twitter real quick and see if maybe you could find the provisional lineup real quick, or what's been thrown out there. I would be interested to see who showed up at the Lowry. But guys, also, if you want to have your lineups read, which I know Drawdy did put in his, I'm sorry, Keith put in his projected lineup for tomorrow. Be sure to get them in. Real quick, I'm going to read out Drawdy's and then I'll give you mine. So Drawdy said Lee Grant, Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Jones, Delo, Pereira, Gomez, Fred, Chong, Greenwood, and Rashford, which I would love to see that. I would love to see that. But if you guys want to have your lineup read, be sure to get them in, and we will get them read out for you. So, Matthew, I'm actually going to say that Lee Grant will start tomorrow, the legendary 100-rated keeper Lee Grant. Then we're going to have...
If you do that, you can bet your mortgage on a clean sheet.
Yes. Oh, dude, I would bet the house, the farm, and the dog. Not Arthur, just a dog on the win. Obs.
It's the Mexican dog.
Yeah, just somebody, just a random dog. I'd go find one. It's gonna happen. Then left back, I'm gonna say that we will see Ashley Young. I think the reason being is I think that there needs to be some veteran leadership out there at certain positions. And I think that Ashley Young would provide that at the left back position. I actually do think that we will see Roshan Williams as a center back tomorrow. And then I think ultimately that the other center back position is the biggest question mark. I would like to see one of our guy, like either Lindelof or Jones be out there, but at the same time, I don't want them to be. I could see the potential for Darmian to be the other center back in this position. I don't fully know what the other center back is going to be because we have so many injuries at the position. But I'll go ahead and I'll say that it'll be Phil Jones at the other center back position to give Victor Lindelof some more rest for the coming up match against Tottenham. Right back will be Delo. I think that one's pretty much one of the few guarantees for tomorrow. Besides Sanchez and Lukaku. I would like to think that for tomorrow we will likely not see Matic or Pogba. The other midfield, I would guess that we probably won't see Herrera start, but I could also see the potential for him starting too. I could see a midfield 3 of like Fred, Pereira, and Herrera start tomorrow. And then I also did hear that if
professional squad here, these are all the confirmed members.
Okay,
every match.
Yeah.
Right. So Romero, Lee Grant is the 2 keepers.
Okay.
Delo, Ashley Young, Jones, Lindelof, Darmian. Those are all the defenders. So not too many to choose from there. James Garner, Scott McTominay. I forgot about him. Pereira, Fellaini, Fred, Mata, Sanchez, Chong, Rashford, Lukaku, Martial. So really not a great deal of defenders and midfielders. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Fellaini starts in the midfield.
So I did hear that Fellaini is apparently still trying to shake off an injury. Now, I don't know.
I think it's a broken heart from Mourinho getting sacked.
Probably. I think that is probably it. And I think that he's waiting to see where Mourinho will go so he can know where he has to go next. But I do ultimately think that we will see I do think that we will see Fellaini tomorrow if he is healthy. That's what they said, is that if he's healthy, then he will be starting tomorrow. So maybe you'll see like Fellaini as the CDM with Fred and Pereira being the further forward guys, with Pereira being the one to truly play the Pogba position. And then obviously we're going to see Sanchez and Lukaku starting tomorrow. That's been confirmed by Ollie. But I think that the other spot is going to be the big question mark, because I think it's going to depend on if we're going to see Sanchez be starting on the right or the left. Because if we see Sanchez start on the right, I really have a question of who's going to be starting on the left. But if he starts on the left, I do think that we will see Tahith Chong on the right tomorrow. But like I said earlier, we don't know from the provisional lineup if everybody that's there is ultimately going to be there. So, is it Woodward? But I'm going to be interested to see if the full provisional lineup is everybody that's there, because like you said, there isn't a lot of defenders there. So, I mean, you have Young, I would say Young and Delo will likely start in that situation. And then the center backs, I don't even know, because like I don't think you're going to want to start both of Phil Jones and Victor Lindelof. I don't think you're going to do both, but I mean, maybe he's going to feel like he doesn't have a choice. Because I mean, being fair to Roshan Williams, he hasn't gotten, a look in with the first team, at least in terms of being out there with the first team in his entire career so far, in terms of a regular season match or an FA Cup match or anything like that. So it will be interesting to see what will come out fully tomorrow. I know that I will be waking up early to try and get as much information as possible about tomorrow, which also, just so you know, all the matches for the FA Cup are on ESPN Plus, which I will have to pay an additional $4.99 a month to be able to have. Yay! Look at this smile, guys. Isn't it great? I love having to pay more money.
Feel having to either pay extra and not be able to watch the match.
Jay Hart said Arthur is center back. Well, obs, bro. If Arthur is available and healthy, which he always is, he's there. He's always there. Arthur's actually more of a number 7 anyways, as you can tell from his picture. So, he's got all the skill and flair. He does. But
he'll be starting right winger then.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And Rory, just so you know, I will be streaming tomorrow. But now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to read out your guys' projected lineups for tomorrow. So let's see here. So Drotty gave us his, and then George Kyle said my lineup for tomorrow is Arthur, and Arthur.
I think that's a 17-0 win.
That's a guaranteed at least double-digit win. So, yikes, guys.
That should be interesting.
Rory said, okay, here's my lineup. Romero, Rojo, Darmian, Valencia, Fellaini, McTominay, Mata, Chong, Alexis, just because he has a lot of experience, Rashford and Lukaku. Would be interesting to see if any of that if Rojo is actually available, because Ollie did confirm that Rojo and Smalling both will not be available. I do hope that Rojo would be available, though. See here. Danny Dobson went with Romero, Delo, Darmian, Jones, and Young. Fellaini, Fred, and Andres. And then Sanchez, Mata, and Lukaku. Let's see here. George Kyle said Romero, Delo, Darmian, Jones, Young, Fellaini, Fred, Pereira, Chong, Sanchez, Lukaku. I would really like that. I would really like to see that, George. That's probably the best of both worlds. Saeed, what's going on, man? Good to see you in here. He went with Romero, Delo, Lindelof, Rojo, Young, Fred, Herrera, McTominay, Alexis, Greenwood, and Martial. So, just so you know, Ollie apparently came out in his press conference and said that Lukaku and Sanchez are guaranteed to start tomorrow. I do hope that we get to see Greenwood I really, really do. We all have talked about, his talent on here. So it will be interesting to see what the actual lineup will be tomorrow, the full team, because I think that we might see a couple of people that are not on the provisional squad that might be there tomorrow. That's just my personal opinion. The one person I hope we do get to see start tomorrow, because as Matthew confirmed, Chong was with the provisional squad. I really hope we get to see Chong start on the right. While I would like to see Alexis Sanchez starting on the right, I think that is where he would be best suited for our team. I think that ultimately, if we got Chong on the right, I would not complain. I would not complain at all. Saeed said that's how big our squad is. One team could be challenging, and one we could easily make the top 6. Exactly. But guys, so we'll go ahead and let's Matthew, let's kind of keep this one a little bit short, considering the fact that we don't know much about Reading. All we know is that they are towards the bottom of the championship, so it doesn't spell anything good for them. And I will say this: let's we haven't talked about how we would do things. So how would you line up the squad for tomorrow if this was your decision making?
So I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. I'd go with Grant in goal. Go with the back four of Young at right back, Lindelof at centre back. I think probably just because we have to, Darmian. And then, Darmian at left back actually. Roshan Williams at centre back. Might as well give him a game.
Yeah.
Fellaini, Pereira, Fred, Chong, and then the front two that are going to start the game. I've forgotten who they were. Sanchez and Lukaku.
That's how you would line it up?
And I'd have Greenwood, maybe Gomez. I'm not sure if it depends on if he's played any games recently. Garner as well as the substitute midfielder, and one or two other youth players.
So if it was up to me, I would do things a little bit differently. I would put Lee Grant in goal. I feel like he is the better keeper compared to Romero. That's my personal opinion. It's not saying that I hate Romero or anything like that, but I think that Lee Grant is a better keeper than him. I would start Delo at right back. I would start Roshan Williams, and then I would start Lindelof as well based on who's available. Now, if Timbo was back, I would start Timbo at center back along with Roshan Williams. I know that might be a little bit risky, but why not take a little bit of a risk? There's just times where you could take a risk, and I think Reading is one of those matches where you could take a little bit of a risk. My midfield 3, I would do, because he has been in and around the squad recently. I would start James Gardner, I would start Andres Pereira, and I would start Fred as the midfield 3. Then for my front 3, I would do a front 3, and a lot of people will probably love this and think it controversial at the same time. I would start Gomez on the left, I would start Chong on the right, and I would start Greenwood up top. I would go with an all-youth front 3, let them run out there, and let's see how they do. And then, if they don't get anything done in the first half, it looks like they're just getting beat, sub one of them off, sub two of them off before, right around halftime. Let them have a little bit of time in the second half if they don't get anything done in the first half, and then sub on Alexis Sanchez, Lukaku, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, whoever you want to sub on. But let the youth get the start and let them see if they can work it out. I think there's no better way and no better test than a championship team filled with grown men for kids. It's just my personal opinion. Obviously, you do have to mix in some veterans with some youth, which is where I think that Young would really come in handy at the left back position. I think Lindelof would come in handy. if he was starting, And then I wouldn't even mind if you said maybe James Gardner doesn't get to start in the midfield, Herrera gets to start in the midfield to have that veteran presence in the midfield. But that's just how personally I would do it, because I would like to see youth go up against grown men in the early rounds of the FA Cup, because I think there's no better time to do it than that. So guys, from there, we will go ahead and we will start to wrap it up. So Matthew, how do you think this match will go? And what is your score prediction for tomorrow?
Right, going for a score prediction. Tottenham have just beat Tranmere Rovers 7-0. And to be honest, I can see something like that happening. I wouldn't say quite as much as 7. I'd probably go with a 4-0. Quite a comfortable and professional performance, really. I'd imagine Greenwood to get off the bench. I think there's been so much talk of him playing in this game that it's almost too good not to be true.
Yeah.
And I think that front three, especially if Chong plays, that's a front three of people who have a point to prove.
Yeah.
I think they're going to really take that opportunity. Now, I know it's only Reading, and you can't really evaluate a performance for a senior team player like Alexis Sanchez or Lukaku. But again, it's a good opportunity to get themselves a goal or two. So I think we'll probably just see a kind of job done performance. We'll probably see a few goals and definitely a clean sheet. Or well, probably a clean sheet, especially if Lee Grant's starting in net.
Yeah. No,
I see a few goals and a good win.
I can see a goal happening. Just because ultimately I don't want to just discredit everything that a team is doing. But at the same time, we're Manchester United. We are far, far better than Reading. There's no denying that. So we should be keeping a clean sheet. But I personally think that we will see youth players play tomorrow. I think that this provisional squad will be a little bit different than what is actually there. I do agree with Matthew. I think that Greenwood will be there. I do think so. I think that Chong might start tomorrow. I would really love to see that. I would love to see Gomez there if possible. Get him off the bench as well. If not, maybe we do a 4-2-3-1, and maybe that we have, Pereira and Fred run the midfield, or maybe if he is going to be starting Fellaini, maybe it'll be Fellaini and Fred in the midfield or something like that. And then maybe we'll see Gomez play at the 10, which a lot of people feel could be his best position. So I'm really excited to see what will happen with the lineup tomorrow. By the way, guys, if you want to have your score read out, be sure to get it in now. And I will get it read out for you. So Rory went with a 4-0. George Kyle went with a 4-0. Saban 5-0. AFAF 6-0. Danny Dobson said 7-0, so he's going with that Tottenham scoreline. Doug said 4-0 United, but wouldn't be surprised if you win 5 or 6-0. But I'm going to go with 4-0, just as he said on his Twitter. Lee Grant will be having more clean sheets than De Gea. The irony, very, 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 very sad, isn't it? AFAF. Jay Hart went with a 6-0. And then I am not seeing any more. So, guys, with that, I'm going to go get Arthur real quick. We'll let Arthur come in and say hi to you all. Got to get the big boy Arthur on.
It can't be a stream without the boy Arthur.
Hey, Bobs. Hi. You going to come in and say hi? Yeah. He's got his red sweater on for Manchester United. He is... Oh, thank you. He is very, very excited for the match tomorrow, and he can't wait to see how everybody is gonna. He says that he thinks that all the youth players should play because he's a kid himself, and he wants to see all the kids play. Don't you, Bubs? Yeah.
He's a smart boy.
No, he's a good boy.
May not speak English, but he's smart.
Go on. Good boy. But you guys, with that, we will go ahead and we will wrap it up. Matthew, as always, you know you're welcome to shout out anything you want, bro. So this is your section right here.
Cool. So, yeah, as per usual, that sale that I had on is ended now, unfortunately. But for those, I know a few people in the comments have ordered something. I'm hoping to get everything packaged and shipped by Monday because I've had quite a lot of orders. So today's been quite busy in regards to trying to package everything. So I think it was Doug and Danny that had ordered stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to ship them tomorrow. If not, then Monday. But yeah, just go to offsidegraphics.com. I should be releasing some new posters, like completely different style ones based on like World Cup and international football. Maybe in the next 3 weeks or so.
Nice.
So, and I'll be plastering it all over social media as per usual.
As what you should.
Just go back to it. Drop a follow if you want.
If you haven't,
100K by the end of the month.
Like, let's be real, guys. If you aren't following Matthew, what are you doing with your life?
Making the right choices.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, you are Scottish, so I mean, so you can't be perfect all the time, Matthew, right?
I mean, you're ginger.
No, that's lies. I actually, like, you can see it in the sides here. You can see I've got, like, black hair. Just because my beard is red doesn't mean jack shit. You know? Get out of here with that. I'm not ginger. Like, I actually really am ginger, guys. I've had red hair my entire life. But
You got way too defensive.
But I am very proud of my red hair. I will say that. There are some people that aren't, but
has to be.
So, and Matthew, I actually told you about this. This is something I haven't talked about yet before. So while I was in Manchester and I did the tour, there was a lot of Asians on my tour. Like I would say most of them were from China, if I remember correctly. There was a couple of them from Japan. And then there was a couple from a couple different.
Start being every Asian looking person. Just say, where are you from?
Well, no. So like the tour guide actually asked where everybody was from.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so there was a lot of people from a lot of different Asian countries, and all of them came up and took a picture with me. And I later on, I asked like one of the guides that spoke English decently, and he told me the reason why is because they don't see people with red hair very often. So they all want to, like whenever we get the chance, we want to meet somebody with red hair. So I was like, huh, interesting. So red hair actually is pretty impressive. So, Nick, this is Team USA. You're an American. Come on now. Pulisic is an American first. But do a poll. Would you rather be ginger or Scottish? You know what? That's a fair poll. That's a fair poll. I mean, the Scots did have William Wallace. I will say that. There is one positive in their favor. I mean, and gingers don't have souls, though. So ultimately, you can't really hurt us. Fair points. But guys, as we wind up this stream with just the random shit that we come up with at times, I just thought I'd say I love you guys. I'm really excited to get back here tomorrow with you live. And we'll see what tomorrow will bring. I'm excited to see the youth that will be brought through because I think that we will see more youth than what was actually in the provisional squad. And I can't wait to watch this match tomorrow, even though I'm going to have to pay extra money for it. But Matthew, as always, Jake, thank you for joining me, my friend.
No worries. I hope it wasn't too bad considering I'm loaded with the cold, but
didn't even hear it. Didn't even hear it. So,
okay.
So, but guys, just genuinely thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back live again tomorrow post-match. We will talk about everything that happened. I'm excited to watch this match. It should be a smashing, like we said. And I am going to go, because I didn't give my score. I just realized that. I am going to go with a 4-0 Manchester United. Think a very just professional win. Sounds real. So, guys, I hope you guys all have a great weekend. We got NFL playoff football coming up. I'm going to do a preview for that, I think, tomorrow, early morning my time, but, late kind of afternoon your time. But we will see you guys live tomorrow. And I really hope that you guys all have a great night a great day wherever you're at and whatever you're doing. Keep doing you because you are awesome. Have a great night, everybody.